when you boot up a video game, you usually dictate the terms, right?
Yeah, you pick the difficulty, learn the patterns, that sort of thing.
Exactly. The system ultimately wants you to win. But imagine being trapped in a simulation that, like, actively wants you dead.
Oh, where someone permanently locked the settings on Nightmare.
Right. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore a stack of articles from Crunchyroll, Anime Corner, and my anime list to understand why the newly announced anime adaptation of Villains Are Destined to Die is, well, being hailed as the crown jewel of the crowded villainous genre.
It's definitely making huge waves for you listeners tracking the upcoming season.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the current media landscape is basically drowning in a sea of isekai stories where, a doomed noblewoman dodges a guillotine to just go bake bread.
Or open a cafe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But this series is a totally different beast.
It really is, and this adaptation announcement comes with some intense emotional whiplash for fans.
Right.
The timing is just bittersweet, which perfectly mirrors the brutal reality the protagonist faces.
Because the webtoon just ended, right?
The Anime Corner reports the main webtoon narrative, originally a web novel by Guan Gaol and illustrated by SEOL, just concluded with chapter 214.
Wow, so the timing is very deliberate.
Absolutely. The plot follows this modern woman sucked into a dating sim called Daughter of the Duke's Super Love Project.
But, and this is the brutal twist, instead of waking up as the easy mode heroine, Yvonne, she spawns as the villainous Penelope Eckhart.
Which is basically a death sentence.
It honestly is. It's like playing Dark Souls, but your enemies are your 5 potential love interests. You've got a temperamental crown prince, a suspicious sorcerer, a fallen knight.
And 2 incredibly hostile adoptive brothers.
Just a nightmare scenario.
Totally. And what's fascinating here is why it's so stressful. She is forced to communicate strictly through pre-selected dialogue boxes.
Wait, really? She has no free speech at all?
0 free speech. If a suitor's affection meter drops too low because of a bad choice, she gets a literal game over screen via execution. Yeah, so it's a psychological thriller about surviving a rigged system, not, finding true love.
Which means the tension is insane. And because the story relies so heavily on this dark, atmospheric tension and intricate world building, the uncertainty around the anime's production is making fans, incredibly anxious.
Oh, they are stressed. According to my animalist, the studio hasn't even been announced yet.
And there's this massive community debate over whether it will be a Japanese or Korean production. People are just praying for a budget large enough to capture SUL's high-fashion art style.
The art is so specific and gorgeous, yeah.
But so what does this all mean? I mean, does the studio choice really matter that much if the story is already this strong?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the art and tone are completely essential because the series treats its deadly game mechanics with terrifying seriousness.
Ah, I see. So a mediocre adaptation would ruin that vibe.
Exactly. The studio must perfectly balance the aesthetic of, silk ribbons of romance with absolute psychological dread.
Because if the pretty exterior doesn't feel like a trap, the thriller aspect just falls flat.
Right. You need to feel the claustrophobia of those floating dialogue boxes locking her in.
Well, this deep dive definitely proves Villains Are Destined to Die isn't just a standard romance. It's a masterclass in high-stakes survival that's clearly going to raise the bar for webtoon adaptations.
Without a doubt. It demands a really flawless execution to work on screen.
Which leaves you with a wild final thought to mull over today. If our own reality suddenly forced us to communicate only through pre-selected high-stakes dialogue boxes, where one wrong choice meant disaster.
Oh my gosh, that sounds exhausting.
Right. Honestly, how many of us would hit a game over screen before we even finished our morning coffee?